skin cancer is the most prevalent cancer in the United States. And actually, there are more new cases of skin cancer than breast cancer, lung cancer, all other cancers combined.
Here's JJ Virgin, triple board certified nutrition and fitness expert and 4-time New York Times best-selling author. It's time to reignite wellness.
Alrighty, I have got a return guest today. This was one of these interviews, the first one I did, which I'll link in the show notes at jjvirgin.com/sunscreen. I did an interview with Dr. Keira Barr on beautiful glowing skin, and it could have gone on for hours because I was like, okay, I need to know about this and this and this. And we just started to get into sunscreen, skin cancers, and it was like, all right, we're going to have to just do another episode. So she's back, and we are going to be talking today about sun safety and skincare prevention. And she has some information I have never heard before. So super excited about this because she's really a standout in her field. There's not very many functionally medicine trained dermatologists out there. And Dr. Keira Barr is fantastic at this and great communicator. She's an expert in integrative skin cancer prevention and the mind-skin connection. You've heard of the mind-body connection. We will probably have to bring her back again to talk more on the mind-skin connection. But if you've ever been stressed out and see your skin go wonky, you know just what I'm talking about. She's a dual board certified dermatologist, author of The Skin Whisperer, and speaker who helps women address the skin they're in, literally and figuratively, to achieve greater physical, mental, and emotional resilience so they look, feel, and perform at their absolute best. So before we dive into this awesome interview, I want to do a shout out to Hallie C., who gave me a 5-star review on iTunes. She says, keep it going. Hi, JJ, you are so knowledgeable, empowering, and always motivating me to do better. Question. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to read this question, and then I'm going to do a total tease. I admit it. I am going to tell you, go listen to the Friday Q&As, because this is great. I'm going to answer this on a Friday Q&A. Question. I'm 52 years old and have been working out since I was 11 years old. I did HIIT training 5 days a week for 1 hour and constantly sore. So recently I switched to 3 days a week, incorporating hot yoga vinyasa for 60 to 90 minutes at my age. Is this better for my fitness goals and longevity? How are our bones, muscles, and metabolism affected by fitness at this age and in our elder years? I hope this makes sense. Thank you, JJ. Hallie. Thank you so much for this question. Again, with our new format of one solo episode, one amazing episode with a fabulous guest in Friday Q&A. I love getting these questions. And of course, I love getting these shout outs. So I would love to shout you out too. If you've not yet gone and done a review, please leave a review and I will shout you out. Make sure you put your name in there too so I can do it. That's awesome. All right. I am going to bring on Dr. Keira Barr, but before I wanted to share this favorite with you. Dr. Keira Barr, welcome back. I had to have you back. I felt like we just skimmed the surface last time on sunscreen and skin cancers. And I basically was like, how quickly can I get you back on? So,
Well, I'm happy to be back.
Well, you're my big skin resource. I am quite a fan. So let's dig into this one because I think there's a lot of confusion around skin cancer. I have an ex-husband who grew up in Miami playing tennis without a shirt on. I have a new husband who grew up in Del Mar playing volleyball without a shirt on. So it seems like I'm always mole checking everybody. So let's talk just about first of all, how did you get into all of this? I know that you've had skin issues on your own. If you had any family instances with skin cancer specifically?
Not until really recently. My dad is a redhead. And he grew up at the beach. I grew up at the beach. We burned ourselves trying to get a tan. And so my dad actually was recently diagnosed with non-melanoma skin cancer called squamous cell carcinoma. I personally have been diagnosed with melanoma. So that is, a dermatologist's worst nightmare for sure.
How long ago was that?
That was about 7 years ago.
Ooh.
And that really was the wake-up call for me, because I thought I'd been doing everything right up until that point. I was wearing sunscreen. I was wearing protective clothing. I thought I was eating healthy. Unfortunately, I learned that what I was doing actually wasn't serving me at all, and had to completely overhaul my lifestyle. And that is really when I discovered the functional medicine, kind of integrative medicine world, and realizing there needs to be a bridge between Eastern and Western approaches. And essentially that's also when I found you.
Yay. Well, I'm glad you're here because you're our functional medicine skin doc bridge here. And let's dig into skin cancer, because again, I think part of the challenge, you talked about growing up and burning your skin trying to get tan. And, most of us who are older than 30, I know I grew up like literally, and I'm just thankful I grew up in Northern California where it wasn't that sunny, because we'd come home after school, we'd put on baby oil, we'd lie on those like reflective things. And I'm like, what the heck, trying to get the Saint-Tropez tan, right? So, totally. Until you learn better, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I'd been in Florida or LA, I'd be in big trouble. So let's talk about skin cancer. You mentioned 2 different types. Like, what are the statistics? What are the types? Like, give us a little skin cancer 101.
Yeah. So I think it's so important to talk about this. And thank you so much for creating that opportunity, because skin cancer is the most prevalent cancer in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
And,
there are more
breast cancer gets all the news.
It's very true.
Wow.
And actually there are more new cases of skin cancer than breast cancer, lung cancer, all other cancers combined. The reason why it isn't as well known is because it's not big business. Right. Which is kind of a weird way to think about it, but it's an $8 billion a year problem to diagnose and manage skin cancer, whereas breast cancer and other cancers, it's multi-billion dollars. And I think the other issue is that with skin, in most instances, you cut it out and you forget about it. It doesn't require the follow-up of chemotherapy and radiation and all the other aspects that other cancers and those individuals dealing with those cancers have to endure. So I don't think that skin cancer gets the attention that it deserves. And it's so important because 1 in 5 people will be diagnosed with skin cancer by the age of 65 or 70 years old.
Wow. And after they get diagnosed, I mean, as you said, you cut it out and it's fine, but that's only if you catch it early enough. I had a girlfriend when I lived in Florida. She'd grown up in Florida and she had this black mole on her neck, and it just was it was like that weird thing, the movie, what's the Austin Powers movie where it was one of those, like we would all go, what, like, what's up with that mole? Oh, it's fine. Well, she was just scared to go check it. By the time she checked it, it was like this thing growing, like it had roots going all the way down. Yucky. So with most of these skin cancers, are they pretty easily treatable?
So there are 2 categories. There's melanoma skin cancer, which is the most deadly, and then the non-melanoma skin cancers. And when I give the statistics of 1 in 5 people being diagnosed, that's for the non-melanoma skin cancer, basal cell, squamous cell carcinoma. And if caught early, they are readily treated with surgical removal. Similar with melanoma, if it's caught early, and that is why I encourage everyone to get naked and get naked every single month. Check your birthday suit for any uninvited guests. You need to see your skin. You need to check.
Well, you got to have someone else checking that birthday skin, because there's parts of that birthday skin suit you can't see, right?
Totally. I think you get a date night and you're already naked. So and
we can do breast self-exam too. Well, we'll do a full, let's just go for it. Just go for it. Prostate check. What the heck?
Totally,
all right.
What the heck? Just throw it all in. Because with melanoma, the thing is, it if caught early, it can be removed and the cure rate is quite high. The problem is when spots go unchecked and they have an opportunity to grow from the top layer of the skin into the second layer of skin and then get into your lymph nodes and blood vessels. And that's where we run into bigger problems. And even then, it's not catastrophic per se, because thankfully, research has been done. We have a lot of new options in terms of biologic agents and immune point check inhibitors for melanoma. So we've come a long way, but the best approach is always prevention.
Mm-hmm. Well, prevention. So who gets skin cancer? Like, who's at risk? If I was the person burning myself, lying on that mat, am I at higher risk for it? Like, what causes it?
Yeah, so it's multifactorial. So one component is skin type. So you have more fair skin, lighter eyes, lighter hair. There's a spectrum. We call them Fitzpatrick skin types, and there's 1 through 6, 1 being the most fair, 6 being the darkest skin. So the risk of sunburn, skin cancer, I guess, increases from high to low. So those with a Fitzpatrick 1 type are at highest risk of burn, sun damage.
Would that be like a redhead?
Redhead, a redhead
okay.
with light eyes.
Yeah.
And so even though I'm a brunette, I have hazel eyes. My dad is the redhead with light eyes. I inherited his more fair skin. So I would be a Fitzpatrick 2-3. So I will burn and gradually tan. So the 1 may just burn and never tan. 2 might burn and maybe tan a little bit. 3 will burn, then gradually tan. 4, less of a burn, and so on and so forth. So just because you don't burn, people of color do get skin cancer. In fact, the statistics are staggering in terms of the Latina and Hispanic population. The non-melanoma skin cancer rates are increasing in that population as well. So no one is immune. Certainly those with darker skin types have a little bit more melanin to protect, because basically your DNA, which is what gets damaged by sun exposure, your DNA has a little melanin cap, so a little pigment protective cap over it. And those individuals with darker skin have more melanin to protect their DNA, but it doesn't mean that they're completely immune. So everybody should take sun safety seriously.
So is it so I would assume in this case your body is a history book. So the dumb stuff we did when we were kids, before we knew better, and before our parents really didn't, we didn't know back then. I would take it that we brought that forward with us.
100%. So you have your
That was not the answer I wanted. No.
Sorry. But it's very true, especially with regards to squamous cell carcinoma. It's the cumulative sun exposure over the course of your lifetime, the more hits you get. So I love what you just shared, because this is what I share as well. Your skin tells your story. So all those freckles that people told you were cute, they're actually sun damage. It is actually your body's way of trying to protect itself. All those moles that you've acquired, it's evidence that you've had enough sun exposure over time to create those moles. Now, there's some of us who are more genetically predisposed. Like I've got hundreds of moles. Moles are also sheer number of moles put you at a higher risk category for the melanoma type of skin cancer. So yes, there are just because your skin tells your story of your past, it doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity to make your future brighter and less risk prone. So there's a lot of things that we can do to protect ourselves.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Before we get into, I was like that would be very sad and a really rotten podcast episode. Well, I want to definitely get into what can we do to protect ourselves now, especially what should we do moving forward, but then also what I'm sure there's some internal things we can do. But before we do that, so when we are doing mole checks, because I think specifically I had something on my face and it wouldn't go away. And it was like this weird little irregular thing. And I was like, went to the doctor's like, that's no big deal. I'm like, yeah, sure. Because it's like all those things they talk about, it's that,
Yes.
get it gone. So what do these things look like? And are there any like myths out there? Because, you always hear it's that irregular colored raised thing, but what else could it be?
100%. So with regards to the non-melanoma skin cancers, which are the most common type. So when you're looking at your skin, I get this all the time. I've got these flaky spots and I keep scraping them away and they keep coming back, right? That could be what we call an actinic keratosis, which is a precursor to the type of skin cancer called squamous cell carcinoma. So basically a flaky patch that just doesn't resolve no matter how much moisturizer, how much exfoliation, how much you work at it, get that checked out.
So wait. Hold. Yeah. I got one on my neck over here I've been messing with. If it's that actinic keratosis, does it turn into?
There is a small percentage of those types of lesions that can evolve into a skin cancer, which is why we recommend getting it checked out and we treat it. If it's just one spot, a lot of times we'll use liquid nitrogen just to destroy that surface layer of cells. A lot of times that's where topical retinoids, vitamin A derivative is not only great for anti-aging, fine lines, wrinkles, acne. It also helps skin cell turnover and repair. So sometimes topical medications like that can be used if it's very minimal. Flaky spot that just isn't resolving, a sore that isn't healing, that pimple that just won't go away is one to consider getting checked out, because it may very well not be a pimple, especially those of us, in our 40s on up. Acne still does occur, but a lingering zit after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, get it checked out. And then when it comes to melanoma, so we always talk about two ways of looking at it. One way is looking for the ugly duckling. So that's why it's so important every month to get naked, check yourself out, so that you know who are the usual ducks and who's the ugly duck trying to get in with your crowd. So you're looking for patterns and you're looking for the spot that just doesn't fit in with your crowd. So that's one easy way to do it. The other is going back to kindergarten, knowing your ABCDEs. And that is speaking to what you were mentioning, things that are asymmetric. So if you were cut a spot down the middle, it's not the same on both sides. B is for border. You want something that has sharp, well-demarcated borders, no jagged edges, no blurred margins. C is for color. Now, moles can come in various colors. They can be skin color. They can be tan. They can be light brown, dark brown. There's even something called a blue nevus. But what you don't want is a spot that has multiple colors in it and that is changing color. That is definitely one that you want to bring to your dermatologist. D is for diameter. Smaller than a pencil eraser is what the party line is, but that's a very soft call, and that's would go to one of those myths because melanomas can be tiny. Again, it's paying attention to what's on your skin consistently and knowing when something is new or changing, and that's where E comes around. E is for evolving, a spot that's changing over time. So that spot that you were referring to on your girlfriend, it looked a little bit suspect initially, and then it changed and kept changing. Absolutely. That is one you want to take to your dermatologist. And please, I had this conversation the other day. Please go to someone who is a board certified dermatologist. So there's a lot of quote unquote skin experts out there. And unfortunately, not everyone has had the good fortune of having the training, having the experience, seeing thousands of patients to know when to remove something or when something's just a seborrheic keratosis, which is a benign lesion, or a melanoma, or for that matter, raising the red flag of alarm when it is just a benign lesion and not a melanoma. So it's really important to check yourself. But then when you have a question, and always don't guess, get it checked out, go to someone who has the experience, like a dermatologist, who will be able to look you over thoroughly, all your nooks and crannies, bottoms of your feet, between your fingers and toes.
Bottoms of your feet?
Yeah, underneath, ladies, mani-pedis between nail changes, color changes. Look at your nails. You can get melanoma underneath in your nail beds.
Really?
So check everywhere. Yes, yes. Recruit your dentist. Recruit your ophthalmologist. I'm going to go on and on. Like anyone, like your masseuse, everyone who can look at
Wow.
your skin. Look at you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
God, this is a great side hustle for massage therapists.
Yeah, it totally is. I
Seriously, I
tell
would
you
love
that.
it if my massage therapist would just like, they should put that at Massage Envy. We will also do this,
It does, it's when we say it takes a village, it really does, because there's so many parts of your body that you can't necessarily see
Yeah.
inside your eyes. When you get your eye exam, your
Inside your
ophthalmologist or optometrist,
eyes.
yep, ocular melanoma is, yeah,
Wowie.
yeah.
Well, okay. So,
But there's always an upside.
okay.
Everything is like, sad, and but that's why you check so you can catch things early.
There's so much self-care to do now that it's, and it's funny, the older you get, I keep thinking, in order to be kind of low maintenance, there's so much maintenance there to do it. Like now we just added, I was like, now I have to look under my feet and in my toenails and like, who knew? All right. So I know we're going to dig into sunscreens, but prior to that, what else can you do? Like, what are some of the things? Are there internal things? Because I've always heard that things like CoQ10 and antioxidants could potentially help. Like, are there things that you can be doing, taking, eating that can help here too?
100%.
Good.
Yes.
Hopefully it's chocolate. Say something good.
Yes. Totally, yes. Chocolate is rich in flavonoids,
Yay.
Antioxidants. Yeah. So my favorite prescription is always a glass of like biodynamic, organically grown red wine and dark chocolate. Like you got to enjoy life. There's rich in antioxidants, and it's you need a little fun. And actually, all the steps, things that you can do from the inside out, as well as the outside in, really, I map those out in my book, The Skin Whisperer. That's really why I wrote the book in the first place, because having been diagnosed with skin cancer and thinking as a dermatologist, if I thought I knew what I was doing and I was completely ass backwards wrong, how is someone...
We have no hope over here.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I felt it was so important. And I do map out how to check your skin in the book. I
Excellent.
talk about things to eat, because nourishing yourself, not just with food. And I'm preaching to the choir with you, but nourishment isn't just food, right? It's how we talk to ourselves, our relationships, how we sleep, how we move. And all of those things impact our body's ability to repair and recover from UV exposure as well. And one of the biggest things that I think is underrated is sleep.
Yay! Aura ring right here.
Yeah, mine's on the charger. I'm not right at the moment, but it is tremendous. So, that old adage of beauty sleep, but it is real. And it is one of the things that research is showing is really can make a significant impact for protecting us from UV damage.
Oh,
because
awesome.
Because melatonin that we generate when we sleep is one of the most potent antioxidants our bodies can make. And it directly, as well as indirectly, helps buffer the DNA damage that the UV exposure can do to us.
Well, so for most people, their melatonin is going down as they age. So does that mean they should be taking melatonin?
So not necessarily. Melatonin supplements for some people work, some don't, but there are other, I guess, supplements that can be used to help bring them into
maybe do 5-HTP. Yeah. Like, so if they were low, it could be helpful, which you can kind of tell. Right. I remember when I was young and I take melatonin, I'd get a total hangover. Now, if I take it every night, and it's made a massive change, but it had to wait till I went low in it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So sleep, that's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yes. That's I think my number one health hack of all time. Everyone's always trying to do these things. I go, well, if you're not sleeping well, really all these hacks you're doing are kind of ridiculous. What else beyond sleep?
Yeah. So with regards to food, we're always talking about, a whole food diet. The biggest things are to eat foods that are anti-inflammatory, rich in antioxidants, and low in anti-glycation, so low glycemic impact. Because the problem with sugar, again, preaching to the choir with you, is the production of those advanced glycation end products. And when you eat sugar, those the process of glycation occurs, these advanced glycation end products form, and then those bind to your collagen and your elastin, which basically make them inelastic and contribute to wrinkling, skin sag, fine lines, and it impairs your body's ability to recover and rebound. So filling your plate full of colorful fruits and veggies rich in antioxidants as well, vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium. Those are some of the big ones. Vitamin C and E. So you can get through your diet, but topically, when you are going to Sephora or something, when you're looking antioxidant serums, those are the ones that you should be looking for that are rich in C and E, because synergistically the two together do great things for DNA repair and collagen rejuvenation.
Cool. Okay, so we have retin-A, we have C and E.
Yes. So, and the others are that you can get from food, but also from supplementation: lycopene, lutein, astaxanthin. And then there's one that you can't get from food. And this is where there are oral supplements. There's some that combine all the minerals, vitamins and minerals I just mentioned, like A, C, D, E, lycopene, lutein, astaxanthin, pomegranate extract, grapeseed extract. But the one that you can't get from food is called Polypodium leucotomus.
What the heck is that? What is that?
So that is derived from a South American fern plant. And the studies have shown that it protects our skin against the UVB, the burning rays, and may be able to increase the time that you can be out in the sun without getting the burn.
Okay, so how do we, say this word again, slowly.
It is Polypodium leucotomus, leucotomas.
And where does one get this?
Yeah, so one can find it in supplements like HelioCare or Enerva. I think there's one called Solgar. So there are over-the-counter oral supplements that can be used in conjunction with your sunscreen and all your other protective measures. I think where people got into trouble is they're like, I don't have to use any other protective measures. I'm taking this supplement. And that's not the case. It will help, but it's not enough.
Okay.
You need a total strategy.
And I would think just like it would just be like back when I first started in this whole world as an exercise physiologist, people just wanted to exercise. This is all I'm not going to change my diet, blah, blah, blah. Like when you really look at how you're going to be healthy, it's change your diet, your sleep, exercise, mindset. It appears skin's going to be the biggest reflection of how healthy you are, right? So it all makes sense. But I love that one. I'll put in the show notes. We're going to put your book in the show notes. We'll put this very weird spelling and some resources for how to get it in the show notes. But you mentioned you started walking into sunscreen. And I find sunscreen a very confusing topic because I'm not sure what I should or shouldn't be avoiding at this point. So let's dig into that.
Yeah, this past year was really a controversial year in terms of, I guess stirring the pot with making it more confusing. So when it comes to sunscreen, I've always been an advocate that sunscreen should be, part of your inner circle, but it's not your BFF. It is not your only BFF, right? So I do think that sunscreen should be part of your daily routine, like you brush your teeth. A moisturizer with sunscreen should be part of your routine, but in and of itself, it's not enough. And why is that? So studies show that most people, those who even use sunscreen, only use 25 to 50% of the recommended amount, which means that SPF that you see on your bottle, you're only getting a fraction of that. And the other issue is
because
that
I just
SPF,
didn't put on enough of it?
Correct.
Well, and
You
I only
just need
put
to
it on
put
in the
enough.
morning. Like, it's like, unless, you don't put it on throughout the day either.
Right, but you should.
I mean,
You
so
should.
I'm
In
thinking,
an ideal world.
like, I only put it on once, and then you go to the gym, you do all this stuff. So, right.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you go to the beach, let's say, or the pool, or you're going for a hike outside, you're going to be outside greater than 2 hours. The recommendation is that you are to reapply that sunscreen, and sooner if you're sweating. Because most sunscreens now, they'll say water resistant up to 40 minutes, up to 80 minutes. But if you are sweating, like dripping or swimming, and you're wiping it off, that sunscreen is not doing you any good.
I'm so surprised. Well, I've got my headset in. Otherwise, we'd have like a dog orchestra going on. I'm like waiting for Daisy to go, woof.
I'm like, which of my 3 dogs is making the racket?
Making a ruckus over there.
Yeah.
To me, it's, I love the fact that we can have studios in our homes and these things happen, so
Yep.
yeah, it's very, but I'm sitting here going, what kind of dog does she have?
I think that's my chocolate lab who's making the thing. He's the baby and he's just looking for attention. But so going back to the sunscreen issue, when we talk about sunscreen, we're talking about, broad spectrum, meaning it should protect you against UVA and UVB rays. The issue is that the SPF is only a measure of UVB protection. We do not have a good measurement of UVA. So we really don't know how much UVA protection we're getting, which is why there's so many different ingredients that may be incorporated into your sunscreen products. Because it requires a combination of ingredients most times to get that broad spectrum coverage.
Okay, so I'd love a couple that you like so that we can list them out, but also ingredients that we specifically either should look for or stay away from.
Yeah, so sunscreen is divided into 2 categories, the physical blockers and the chemical blockers. I personally only recommend the physical blockers, which include zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Those are also the 2 ingredients that the FDA has approved as generally recognized as safe and effective. This past year, sunscreen really came under scrutiny. 16 ingredients were looked at, and there's still 12 that are under further investigation. Oxybenzone and octinoxate were the 2 that got the most attention as being concerning. So oxybenzone has been reported in some studies to impact or to mimic our human hormones, like the sex hormones and thyroid hormones, and to cause endocrine disruption. So that is part and parcel. In addition to sunscreen ingredients having the potential adverse effect on the environment, particularly the coral reefs, which is why a Caribbean island banned it for going forward for 2021, Key West, Hawaii. There really is also the health concern.
How can they know what someone's putting on their skin?
I know. How can they know? The problem. So I think going forward, because of the concern about oxybenzone and some of the other ingredients that the FDA is looking more closely at to see how they're impacting the human body, many companies are probably going to reformulate their products going forward to take the questionable ones out. The problem is so many of them are potentially questionable, and we are so far behind the Europeans in terms of certain filters that we can bring into our country. We're still waiting for the FDA to approve them, and we've been waiting for 10 years now. This is a big issue in the American Academy of Dermatology to try and, facilitate getting more options. But right now, zinc and titanium dioxide are your best bets.
So if we're in Europe, we should buy sunscreen?
Potentially, but even still, again, the filters that they're trying to bring in are the chemical filters. So far, zinc, it's why I like it and why I recommend it. Oxybenzone and avobenzone are known to cause irritant and allergic contact dermatitis. So those of us with sensitive skin, those sunscreen ingredients are are not our friends.
Mm.
Zinc oxide can be used from your littles up until your bigs, whereas the chemical sunscreens on your little kids, they can number one, they're absorbed into the skin and they cause they cause a chemical reaction. They warm up, and your kids might not like that.
Mm-hmm.
So zinc is just it's just easy.
It's the one that always makes you look a little bit white.
White. It is true. Now there's an upside of that, because
yes.
when you look white, you'll know where you've missed any spots.
Huh.
So it's a built-in indicator where you might need to fill in some gaps. And many companies have, made their zinc oxide a bit more cosmetically elegant. There is a clear zinc. So there are options, but I still recommend the mineral blockers as my go-to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great information. Like, this was all super amazing information. And again, I'm going to link to your book. We'll link to the very difficult to say antioxidants you want. We'll put all this in the show notes, because people are driving while they're listening to this, or working out. And you also have your glowing skin cheat sheet that we're giving everybody. What is that?
So that is my top tips that incorporate things you can put on your skin and nourishing your body. All the things that we talked about, really, from the inside out, outside in, that people can start using today to get that glowing skin.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to put that at jjvirgin.com/sunscreen. And you can grab that and everything else we talked about. I will link up to all of that, so it's in one easy place. Thank you so much, Keira. You're so awesome. Super appreciate you. Keep doing the big, good work. And what I will do after the break is I'm going to jump in and give you your top action steps for today. So stay with me. Alrighty, welcome back. This is the time where I help you put into action everything that you've heard about. And so first thing I want to remind you is grab the show notes at jjvirgin.com/sunscreen. Here is what I'm making sure we put in there. First of all, we'll do a link to my buddies over at Dry Farm Wines so that you can get your resveratrol cleanly. And so we'll make sure that we have that there. Next up, I'm going to get a couple of different options for the Polypodium leucotinus. I hope I said that right. But the team's going to get you some links to where you can find that on Amazon, and some great sunscreen recommendations as well. We'll put in our buddies over at Anne-Marie Gianni's Skincare in there, and see if my buddy Dr. Tony Yoon has a great C&E product as well. So we'll put all sorts of great resources in there that you can jump on and use, so that you can get right into that. And a couple things that I just wanted to give you to follow up on. Number one, she talked about sugar and how rotten it is for you. Now, you've heard me go on my sugar rants more than enough times, but I love that she really dug deep into ages. I like to think of advanced glycated end products as kind of the crust on bread. We do not want our skin to look that way. Can we agree? And so if you have not yet gone through the sugar impact diet, we will put a little quiz in on that as well to help guide you there to see if that's something that needs to be your next step in your diet discovery journey. And so that's first. Second of all, that naked body check. And if you've got a partner, because I think this would be weird to do with a first date. If you've got a partner, a committed partner, this is a really awesome, smart idea, is to do that skin check. I'm constantly checking my husband's back because he has just spent so much time out in the sun. So make sure you're doing that. That is really, really important. So we're getting the sugar out. We're doing the skin check, and then also getting a good sunscreen and reapplying it more often than you're doing at the present moment. I had a great esthetician who gave me a mineral-based sunscreen powder and said, just put this in your car, and then when you're at a stoplight, make sure that you put some on, because we just don't think about it. So make sure you're doing that as well, so that you're getting that all in. Those are some simple things that you can do to get started right away. One more big ask, if you've not left a review yet, oh my gosh, please, so I can shout you out, make sure you put your name with it. Nothing makes us happier, the team, because this podcast takes a village. I'm sitting here in my little recording studio with my dual podcast mics and my ring lights and all of that, and the dog who is snoring. Hopefully you can't hear that. But takes a village to get all of the interviews set up and researched, and then of course edited and distributed and all of that. So all of us love reading those reviews and knowing that we are making our dent in the universe. So thank you so much for that. If you're not subscribed yet, you can just do it by going to subscribe to JJ. Super simple. Subscribe to JJ.com. All right. See you next week. Bye.